Hello, my creeplings. Tonight we've got what's going to be considered a modern-day classic released in 2007, the horror anthology Trick or Treat. Written and directed by Michael Dougherty, based on an animated short and character he created called Season's Greetings. I do believe you can find the short on YouTube, and I highly suggest watching it. It's a nice, demented little piece of animation. This follows 4 different Halloween stories, which, unlike other horror anthologies like Twilight Zone the movie, Tales from the Dark Side the movie, and Creepshow, for example, they all have their stories, our individual stories. These are all kind of interwoven. They all take place in the same town. I'm going to go off on this one for a second. Warren Valley, Ohio. Now, as an Ohioan, I grew up in Northwest. I live in Central now. Ohio ain't that fun. We're boring. We're a bunch of farm towns surrounded by some large, dying cities. The heyday of manufacture and shipping is over. We're just trying to find our place in the world. We don't do fun shit like this anymore. We don't have weird, crazy shit like this happen. But for some reason, The Faculty, The Nightmare on Elm Street, at least the first one, and possibly the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and now this movie, all take place in Ohio. Shit ain't this weird. It's boring here. Maybe back in the day when we were a frontier state, but not anymore. Okay, I'm done talking about that. I just had to get my piece out there. So Warren Valley, Ohio is a town that goes all out to celebrate Halloween. We're talking the Halloween parades of the 50s, the street parties of the 60s, 70s, possibly even into the 80s. Some general debauchery on the adult side. Kids trick-or-treating until way later in the night than I ever remember trick-or-treating. Warren Valley seems like it's a happening place. We open up with a news reporter reporting on all the, oh yeah, Warren Valley's going all out, blah, blah, blah. And in the background, we start seeing our characters weaving in and out. In our introduction, we start with a couple, Emma and Henry. Emma, played by Leslie Bibb, if I remember correctly. Yes, Leslie Bibb. I always want to call her Anna Bibb for some reason. Leslie Bibb is a Halloween Grinch. She's just like, oh, yeah, I wish every day was Halloween. I'm going to clean the yard up. My mom's coming tomorrow. This place looks like a murder scene. She goes to blow the jack-o'-lantern out. And Henry's like, dude, don't. It's like tradition that you don't blow this out before midnight. She's like, look, I'm lit. You're lit. His night's over, and she blows the pumpkin's candle out, which catches the attention of one very strange-looking little trick-or-treater in orange footy pajamas and a burlap sack on his rather oversized head. Now, we will find out what actually happens to this particular character later, because this movie starts at the end and it ends at the beginning. It's a wraparound story. So moving on to the first real story, they call it Principal. And Principal Stephen Wilkins, I'm assuming he's at least an elementary school principal because of the way he interacts with the kids. Or he could just be like, my school, everybody was in one building, and we had 2 principals, the elementary and the high school. So, I don't know how small Warren Valley is. I know he's a school principal. I'm not going to get too crazy into the details of the stories, because I really do want you to watch this. But just know that he harbors a dark side, and so does his little son. I believe his little son's name is Henry. Yeah. We have one of the bigger, older boys ends up eating cyanide-laced or arsenic-laced candy and ends up in a hole in the ground in the back. And you find out more about Principal Stephen Wilkins later, because he shows up in some of the other stories. He lives next to an old grump named Mr. Krieg. Mr. Krieg, some of his story overlaps here, so pay attention, because a lot of these stories you're seeing one side in one story and the other side in another story. Um, so, yeah, he basically kills a kid for the fun of it, throws him in a hole in the backyard, and teaches Henry how to carve a jack-o'-lantern with this kid's head. Really realistic puke effects. So if you're like me, very few things squick you out. The puke didn't squick me out, but I know it would squick a few other people out. Me, I got to think about eyes. Fortunately, they didn't get into an eye thing here, but there's one movie on my list of movies I want to watch that I just have been putting off because I know there's an eye thing. So if vomit squicks you out, you have a squick warning. We follow after this a small group of, I believe, 4 trick-or-treaters collecting jack-o'-lanterns. They are, let's see if I remember their names. I'm going to look. Macy, who is okay, Macy's going to grow up to be bitchy Karen. She is a little Karen in training. She is the head bitch in charge, and the emphasis is on the word bitch. Girl's probably 12 years old and is already just like, oh my god, shut up and listen to me. Ugh, she got what was coming to her. Chip, Schrader, and Sarah. Now, Chip is their friend who's like the nerdy little fat boy, but not like super nerdy. Schrader's the dreamboat, and Sarah's just your kind of in between. She's got some headgear, braces, but you know, she's not all bad. They're collecting jack-o'-lanterns, and they're about to give up when they pass Rhonda's house. Now, Rhonda's a classmate of theirs, I'm guessing, age-wise. Rhonda, they call her an idiot savant. I'm actually assuming the girl's probably autistic and hyper-focused on Halloween. Her house is completely decorated, these beautiful jack-o'-lanterns. And they grab all the jack-o'-lanterns they need from her, and they proceed to the quarry, where Macy tells the story of the Halloween school bus massacre. Quick breakdown of that story. Back in at this point it was probably the 50s or 60s. There was a small group of children who at the time were considered retards. I hate using that word, but that was terminology for the time. Learning disabilities, social disabilities, probably severely autistic, that kind of level of they needed special schooling. So they would be bussed out of town to their special school. Well, according to Macy, their parents finally just got tired of them and paid their bus driver to get rid of them. And that's kind of what happens. The bus goes off a cliff in a quarry, and here in Ohio, a lot of our former quarries are now lakes and ponds, and I grew up near one. They're actually kind of cool once nature reclaims them. The bus sinks. They're there to, quote-unquote, I'm paraphrasing, excuse me, so not quote, pay their respects to the dead by leaving the jack-o'-lanterns. Now, it turns out it's a big ruse on Rhonda. They play a really mean trick on her. It causes her to fall and hit her head. And what they don't realize is the school bus massacre is real. And the school bus massacre, children rise from the water and take out the rest of the kids. Rhonda managed to escape. And she ends up going home in a daze. She crosses the path of that same orange footy jammy trick-or-treater, and he kind of looks at her like, okay, you're cool, walks the other direction. We then go into, they call this section surprise party. We got a group of college age girls, kind of skanky, all going for the super slutty, super sexy Halloween costume, all except for the youngest one. She's played by Anna Paquin, and she's 22. And they keep talking about her like she's, you know, this is going to be her first time. Well, you think she's a virgin? Not in the way you think. She ends up getting picked up by, it turns out Principal Wilkins is also into murdering people with fangs. He's been stalking women at the Halloween party, and basically He's got these fang dentures, and he's just been biting them up and bleeding them out. Tables are turned on him, though. Once they get to this secluded spot in the woods, you find out that these girls aren't there to have... Well, they're probably having sex before the real fun happens. They're a pack of werewolves. And the werewolf transformation is so interesting. A lot of times when you see a werewolf transformation, you see this the like bone stretch and the skin stretch. These girls are peeling their skin off. It is such a visceral delight to watch this. And it's underscored by Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams. Pair that with the fact that Anna Paquin's character is wearing a Little Red Riding Hood costume. And it's fun for anyone who likes that stuff. So of course, Wilkins is her first kill, not first lover. And, he gets what's coming to him. The final story, I cannot remember what they called it. They just call it Sam. This is what happens next door to Principal Wilkins' house with Mr. Krieg. Mr. Krieg is a grump. He's got a dog named Spite. First I thought it was Spike. No, it's Spite, like hate and spite and all that. Yeah. He's not celebrating Halloween properly. He's scaring kids and taking candy away. He's yelling at his neighbor. And he gets a visit by the weird little trick-or-treater in footy jammies, who you find out his name is Sam. I don't think they ever actually say his name is Sam, but the character's name is Sam, and Sam is the guardian of Halloween. And he is teaching Mr. Krieg a lesson, because it turns out Mr. Krieg was the bus driver from the school bus massacre. And, there's an homage to Pet Sematary from the 80s. Cuts the guy's tendon. There's pumpkin guts. There's broken glass. There's blood. There's gun. It's great. Brian Cox? I know I'm really bad with names today. Yes, Brian Cox from X-Men 2. The Bryan Singer trilogy, is, Mr. Krieg. Stellar performance from him. Sam doesn't kill him, though, because there was an offering of candy, but it was kind of... There's a video on CZ's World here on YouTube. If I remember to... If I can make it work, I'll try to link it below, but it's CZ, as in the letters, CZ's World. He does Halloween, you probably already follow this if you're watching my videos anyway. He does horror history and things you missed in horror movies. He just released one about the history of Sam, and it covers everything. It's so great. I do a lot of watching of his videos. I'm quite, enamored of him. So, Sam takes the candy as an offering. It's like, okay, you got your trick, I got my treat, you're good till next year. So later in the night, Krieg is giving the stolen candy away to kids. He's wrapped up in bandages. One kid goes, "Oh, your mummy costume's really cute." Not so much a mummy costume. It's banged and bruised. And that's when we ended the beginning with Henry and Emma. And Emma's just bitching up a storm. Sam hears her, because she lives across the street, turns around and walks away. So we cut back to Krieg shutting his door after the little trick-or-treaters. He gets another knock. And you open the door, and it's the spirits of the kids he killed. I'll let you figure out what happens after that. And then you figure out what happens to Emma, because Emma's a Halloween Scrooge. Let this be said. I don't want Sam to come after you guys, so give the candy away if you get trick-or-treaters. Decorate for Halloween in any way you can. I have not really decorated much this year, but I have decorated a little bit. I'm hoping that I don't get a visit from a trick-or-treater in footy jammies. If he does, though, I hope I have some kind of candy around. I usually do. This movie is a delight. It is well written. It is well shot. I do not know why they chose not to release this to theaters. I think if they did, it would have made a ton of money. The visual effects are great. There's some comic book paneling at the beginning and at the end in the credits that just, you know, kind of give it that Halloween, the Halloween comic book feel. The score's great. Sam is so damn adorable. They actually used a little kid in footy jammies with a big helmet on so that they got the proportions right and the movement right. Because kids move a certain way. I don't know if anybody's ever really watched a child move versus the way a little person moves. It's different. Kids kind of don't always have control of their own, like, my little sister used to just stand there and wiggle and lose her balance because she was 5 and didn't quite have all of her motor functions quite formed yet. There's talk. There has been talk of a sequel in the works for years. Nothing has officially been greenlit, but everybody's been asking for it, and I know Dougherty's been working on a story, and the people at Legendary Pictures... Pardon me. This is an after-work film. Sometimes I get the yawns because I'm just getting near the end of my gas tank, if you know what I mean. He's been working on stories. FearNet. God, I miss FearNet. They were a website, and then they had a cable presence for a while. They did a bunch of fun stuff. They still have a YouTube channel up, even though they haven't uploaded anything. They did some stuff for Trick or Treat. God, was it 10 years ago now? Those videos are still up. I haven't watched all of them yet. I have them in my list of stuff to watch, but Sam has just become such an icon. You walk into any Spirit Halloween, or you go onto Fright Rags, or, hell, sometimes even in Walmart, you see Little Sam. He's become, like, one of the modern day icons of Halloween. I love this. This is also the guy... Michael Dougherty, I believe he came up with the movie Krampus that came out the past few years. So the guy's definitely got a twisted take on holidays. I will be revisiting eventually. But yeah, I mean, this is a classic. Go out and watch it. Now, I will say there's another movie called Trick or Treat from the 80s, and I want to say it's 86 or 87. That one's pretty cool too, but it's not this one. They're two completely different stories. Watch them both, but definitely watch Trick or Treat 2007 with Anna Paquin and Brian Cox, and Leslie Bibb. It is an excellent film. It is definitely one of those that I keep in my roster. I will watch this outside of the Halloween season. If it's, you know, back when I had cable, if it was just playing, like I was channel surfing and couldn't find anything good to watch, if that was on, it's like, okay, I'm stopping here. So, I mean, it's the season. Halloween is great. Sam just reminds you that Halloween is a lot older and a lot more reverent than most modern day people realize. And maybe we should be paying a little more attention to what we're doing rather than just going out and making fun of it. Make fun with it, fun and merriment, but don't make fun of it. Because Halloween is a very ancient and old holiday, and a lot of strange stuff can happen. So, on that note, good night, my creeplings, and I'll see you next time. Bye.